Hello, welcome to How to Adult. We're interviewing people on this channel now. How fun. Like live, in the room with people.
Oh my God,
Boebi.
human interaction.
Stevie, youtube.com/Stevie. You make videos about sex and stuff.
Yeah, sex, dating, and relationships.
Sex, dating, and relationships.
Yeah.
Important things.
Yes.
That I don't know that much about.
You what?
I know.
Don't you have an extremely successful
one relationship? But maybe that's useful knowledge to be gained there. A thing that I've been thinking about a lot. I feel like in any relationship, there is always you never really know who has the power and where the power dynamic is in sort of an ideal situation. But I think it's really important to know when it's you who has a power in a relationship, and that can be kind of hard to figure out.
Yeah, I think if by power you mean abuse, I'll take it real hard. I think that we always talk about what abuse looks like from the victim's perspective and not so much from the abuser's perspective. And we definitely always like demonize it and make it like really extreme. Mm-hmm. And so people don't know when they're being abusive a lot of times. Yeah. And I still haven't really seen a lot of stuff people posting about.
Of discussion about that.
What it looks like. Yeah.
You know, and in my own life, it's sort of like really important to me when like I realized suddenly, oh, I didn't know that I was having that impact on a person. Even in like personal relationships that aren't romantic, having employees, like having to be aware that I am more than I think I am to them. And that can be really a thing when if like I wasn't married and might date one of those people, it would be a weird power imbalance to start out with. And that's also the case a lot with people who are, you know, semi-famous. I have a lot of friends who have some level of notoriety, and that can also be a really important thing when you're going into a relationship with somebody who might already know who you are. Mm-hmm. To know that you have that extra power and what to do with it and how to diffuse it and how to not exploit it. Yeah,
I'm single for the first time, or like the most single I've been for the longest amount of time
This is the most single I've ever been. What does the most single mean?
I don't know.
Just like not dating anybody.
Yeah, I'm basically not dating anyone. So it's interesting to be like, oh shit, I have to like try to figure out if people are being honest with me about if they have seen my videos or know who I am or whatever, which is really interesting.
It's just, I think that takes a lot of care, and it's something that I think about a lot in all of my relationships, but I think it's especially important in romantic relationships to think about whether or not you are controlling a person more than you think you are, and whether people feel comfortable saying no or all of that stuff. Is the hard. Yeah. And that's where we're at in society. We've got a question from Lindsay Doe, who we probably could have had on the show before, but
I know
since she lives here in Missoula.
She just left.
So Lindsay wants to know, what are the biggest communication mistakes most people make in relationships and how to fix them?
Oh God. Guys, I've not had a lot of successful communicative relationships. So for me, I'm just like, oh, tell me how you feel.
What are the mistakes you keep making over and over again?
Assuming people are communicating when they aren't.
Yeah, I mean, having had a long relationship, there's definitely can come a point where you're like, well, I know what that person thinks about this, so I don't even have to ask. That's a bad move. You should ask. 20 years in, Catherine still surprises me all the time with what she is excited about or not excited about. Sometimes I feel like I have a whole conversation in her with my head, and I get annoyed with like my head version of her.
And so you're just annoyed because you think that that's how she actually is going to feel, and then you're like surprised.
And then maybe it won't be that way. Or she'll be much more thoughtful or considerate of my feelings. And you can sort of like blow it up in your head and think, I don't want to bring that up with her because I don't want it to be a fight, and then it's not a fight. Or you get defensive as you're bringing it up, and that escalates it before you even have the conversation.
Oh man, in relationships, I'm never like, oh, I should not say that because it's going to cause a fight. I've never, ever, ever felt that way. I don't know.
That is very different from me.
I have no fear of confrontation.
I make the fight worse and worse and worse, the eventual fight, by not bringing it up. And then being like, oh, by the way, tomorrow I'm going to do this thing that's going to annoy you.
Oh, shit. That's awful. Yeah. But you're pleasantly surprised now that you've stopped doing that more.
Yeah.
Right?
Other communication.
What are the biggest communication mistakes?
Like airing a new grievance during a fight is always one that I do, where it's like we're fighting about one thing and I'm like, well, let's add this one to it. let's add another thing to fight about on top of it.
That is so cliche, Hank. What? Why are you doing that? Those are separate issues.
I'm not saying that I'm not saying it's not cliche. There's a reason it's cliche. People do it. It's like, well, we're fighting about this. What about that thing?
Well, why don't you like my mother?
And sometimes you don't want to bring something up for a long time, and it just sort of like sits there in the background, and then you're like, finally, when you like can't hold it back anymore is when it comes out, and that's when everybody's at the highest stress moment. So very good to try and like write those things down while you're having the fight to bring them up later.
Yeah.
And be like, oh, this really was bothering me and I didn't think it was. Let's talk about it tomorrow when we're not yelling at each other.
Yeah, when you're not super passionate and heated about something else, maybe like writing it down and sending a letter the next day when you're able to like, or text it or whatever, when you're able to like put your thoughts together in not an overly passionate way. So this one, I have no idea how to answer. I'll try. But I think it's really good. She says, I have a severe mental illness that affects my ability to behave rationally in relationships. Do you have advice for me for how to be upfront about this with a new potential romantic partner without scaring them away? And I think you should not be scared about scaring them away, because if you do scare them away by talking about your mental illness, they're not someone you should probably date.
Yeah.
If you know that this is something that is very important in your romantic relationships, is them knowing how to deal with and knowing about your mental illness, then I don't know. I usually go in like fires blazing in a relationship. I'm just like, I do this and this and this, and these are the bad things about me. Here's the good things about me. What are your bad things? Go on. Like date one. Sometimes two.
Is it like, here's a book on my disease?
Yeah. Hey, here's what it's called. Google it before the first date.
Right, yeah.
And then let me know if you want to cancel or not.
Yeah.
Like not being scared of rejection, I guess, is like a thing you should probably work on, because
Oh boy.
if you have a mental illness, it is very important that you date people that are understanding and that are curious about it. And if they are scared and want to run away, then like you just lucked out, because now you don't have to date them.
Right, and thinking of it in terms of curiosity is a really great frame.
Yeah.
So instead of saying like, I have this problem and I'm making this person deal with it, instead it's like, you know, I'm a different kind of person and I'm allowing this person to learn more about the world and humans, and this is going to be useful information even if we don't like get married. That they'll have, you know, more experience dealing with different types of brains.
Disability can be so amazing, because people with disabilities look at the world and interact with the world in such a different way. And it can be so beautiful.
And you don't want people to fall in love with a version of you that isn't you.
Yeah.
Just
Oh
let
my
them
God.
fall in love with you. So this one is from Hank Green. How do you not fear rejection, Steve?
Is that really the question?
That's what, no, that's, you just said that. And I was like, what? Just stop fearing rejection. I'm a human being.
Oh, okay. I think I have some things to say about this. I think that how can you fear rejection if you don't have expectations of something? So if you're, in the aspect of dating, if you expect to marry this person or expect to date this person or expect to have sex with this person, then you can feel rejected or let down. If you don't have expectations when you go into something, I feel like that can lessen your rejection, because you can't be rejected of something that you're not trying to get.
Yeah, expectations are a big one in marriage communication too. When sort of like, I think something's going to happen and it doesn't happen. It's just like,
I think also it's creepy. I think having, like in when you first started dating someone, first start flirting with someone.
I mean, even when you're married, it's creepy to be like, so we're doing it tonight, right?
Yeah.
You don't ever put the pressure on and be like that this is an expectation of a need that must be required whether you want to or not.
Yeah, I think people have been asking me lately, like, how do I not be creepy? How do I not seem like a predatory lesbian?
How do I not seem creepy?
I just think the difference is expectations. Because you can still flirt with someone and say almost the same things, but if you get upset because they're not continuing to flirt with you, that's you having an expectation, and then that's fucking creepy.
Yeah,
You know?
Agree. That's a great
Does that help with rejection?
It may. I mean, saying like, here's how you do it and doing it are very different things.
We're all just winging it. We're all just winging it.
In general, like the idea that that expectation is a big part of all of these different things we just talked about, creepiness and rejection, like that sort of like ties them all together. It's hard not to have expectations. It's hard not to want things, but like that is a lot of times kind of where
expectation and desire are very different.
Right. Okay. Good
Yeah.
point. Great point. Yeah.
You can want something and be like, this is what I hope. But then being like, this is what I'm after and this is what's going to happen. And if it doesn't happen, I'm going to feel let down and rejected.
Right. Something went wrong.
Yeah. What did I do? What's wrong with me?
Or what's wrong with them?
Yeah, what's wrong with them?
Yeah. Question, how do you bring up the topic of polyamory, even if it's just a hypothetical, when you don't want them to think they aren't enough?
Whoa.
I don't know. Is this in your wheelhouse at all?
Oh yeah, I love talking about this. So the person's scared that they're gonna think that their person is not enough.
Yeah.
Right. I think that takes a ton of work. It's a ton of like reassurance and explaining what polyamory is and how it doesn't mean that you're missing something or whatever, but it's its own identity. We're taught as a society that monogamy and loyalty and never cheating and never like being attracted to anyone else forever after you decide to marry someone is like the only way. And not only is it the only way, it's the best way. Is harmful. But we have to like try to unlearn that so that we don't, because jealousy is a killer.
Yeah.
And then like feeling inadequate in a relationship, even if it's not poly, sounds terrifying.
It's never happened to Stevie, so she wouldn't know.
Also for me, I'm just like, because I was in my first relationship with a poly person when I was 19. And like the conclusion I came to when she told me, and then I was like, why would I want there to be less love in the world? It was like my first, like, that's why I think I'm okay with this.
Yeah. I was dating a girl who she wanted her to have an open relationship where I didn't want to. And I was just like, I would rather not be in that situation. As like a 19-year-old. So like, this is a long, long time ago. But
we went through the same thing at the same age. And we had different conclusions.
Yeah.
And that's totally okay.
yeah.
Oh, God. How do you not lose your true self while changing for the other person?
I don't know what changing for another person means.
Yeah, I think in
And I also don't know what my true self is. I don't know what that is. Like, I feel like my true self is very affected by the expectations of other people and the desires of other people, and like I think that's okay.
Yeah, and like where you are in your life, and everybody grows and changes, not even because of your relationship.
Yeah.
But I think everyone makes a compromise in a relationship. Like one of you might be into, I don't know, what's a thing that arcade games, and the other person's like, I'd rather sit at home and watch Netflix. So you might decide to watch Netflix or decide to go play arcade games. And the other person's not gonna like it, but guess what? You just do it because. Or you could become polyamorous and date someone that likes arcade games and that's the only thing you do with them.
It's just like my side arcade person.
My side arcade person. But yeah, I don't think you have to lose yourself in compromising.
Yeah, sometimes I feel, I don't know, this is a very personal perspective, but I sometimes feel that people are too tied to what they see as the true version of themselves. You know, we hear it all the time in media and like, you know, from Disney on up, that like you have to find your true self and be that. And I just think that's a fake idea. In a lot of ways, I don't think that the guy I was when I was 16 is alive.
Yeah.
I think that person is dead, which kind of makes me feel better about death. That, like, I've done it before. Like, that guy is over.
Reincarnated.
Yeah, he's like, he became something else. All like, there's like things that tie me back to him, but
I think that being true to yourself is being open and honest about how you feel and what you want.
Right.
With your partner.
And not certainly not doing things that like make you feel uncomfortable or make you angry or make you like that you hate. And like, yeah, there are things.
Yeah, like yes, no's, and maybes. You know, if your partner wants you to do the no's a lot of the time, then like, I don't know, that's not a good relationship.
It is very good to have that list. And that is not a thing that I knew about when I started.
Oh my God, there's a sexual one. World. It's called mojoupgrade.com. So, and it basically just lists a bunch of sexual fetishes or like things. There's a lot of vanilla stuff too, don't worry.
Because I'm not in anything weird.
I think the only video we've made together before is about weird sexual or like porn or something. Anyway, and so you go on there and you answer the questions separately and you say yes, no, maybe, but then it only shows your partner the things you said yes or maybe to, or the things you both said yes or maybe to. So if you're like into something that you're like ashamed about or like scared or you know that they're not going to be into, they'll never see it if they aren't into it.
Right.
Which is so cool.
That is really interesting.
Yeah.
make technology help us with these things. Thank you, technology.
How do you tell someone that they're going too fast? So like moving too fast and you want to like slow down a bit.
Right.
Saying like, hey, let's talk about which page we're on.
Right.
This is how I feel and what pages I'm on, and how do you feel and what pages are you on? Because they might not know they're moving faster than you.
Sure.
I find that that's kind of the case.
I think the better we can be about having conversations, it's gonna be awkward the first time you have this conversation, but like as you go through your life, it's gonna be less awkward. And so you need to be doing it. There's all kinds of things, moments in my life where I'm like, boy, like the time that I did that thing that was hard was the best thing I ever did. And so if that's feeling like a hard conversation, that doesn't mean that it's not a really like one of the best things that you will do for your relationship and for yourself, and like you'll learn about yourself, and you'll also learn how to have tough conversations, which you were going to do for the rest of your life. And people who always avoid hard conversations are people who have problems. Like that becomes, if you never get good at that, it can be like kind of relationship wise debilitating.
Yeah, I don't have that problem.
Yeah.
But I think...
So again, apparently I'm the expert on everything.
The problem I have is...
Stevie doesn't know has never experienced a lack of confidence, a fear of rejection, or at any point has ever felt uncomfortable about anything.
No, of course I feel those things, just not to the extent that other people do, I think. I also, the problem I have is being too harsh about things, so I've had to learn how to be more gentle.
I have that problem too.
And not because I'm passionate, I just say things matter-of-factly, like this is what's happening. So I think I've learned how, at a really young age, I guess, how to do that, but then now it's like, okay, it hurts people's feelings, and it's like people are scared of confrontation, Stevie. You can't just confront everybody about everything all the time. It's good to talk, and it's also not fair to them. If they are moving too fast and you don't want them to, and they don't know that you don't want them to, it's not fair to them, you know? Yeah. So maybe if you think about it in that way instead of like...
Right. Yeah, but also...
being like, I owe them moving this fast because they want it. I feel like it's a lot of time what people think.
This never is the case.
Yeah.
I mean, we could definitely talk about this all day, but the good news is that you do talk about this all the time on your channel, youtube.com/Stevie.
Yeah.
With an IE. It was a pleasure to have you to chat about this stuff.
Yeah, thanks so much. Oh man, we should chat more.
Oh yeah.
Because we disagree on a lot. Or not, we just have very different experiences. Yeah, that's so cool.
Thank you for watching, people. Thanks to everybody who worked on this video. And there's a link in the description.
Yay.
It's the first thing I want to ask you before we get to user questions. Users? Viewer questions. You got another question for us? Or should I ask all the questions? Because you've got your phone.
Let's see.
You can pick one.
All right, Mr. Passive Aggressive. I mean, do you want me to ask
Wow, Stevie is good at communication.
Do you have a phone on you?
At least you're having legitimate, serious conversations instead of like, oh, the weather. I don't know how to talk to people. How do I relationship?
I liked that one.